This is one thing I've noticed, especially in a lot of cultures that I've interacted with in Nigeria. We're supposed to be seen and not heard. And even when we're heard, we're supposed to say things that men want to hear. Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to another life-altering, life-changing installment of Tea Time with Ayek. We don't always drink tea, but honey, we spill tea. And today, I'm here to talk about 5 things I've learned about being a woman in Nigeria. So if you're just joining me for the first time, welcome, first of all. My name is Ayek, and this is my channel. I talk about all kinds of things centered around my move to Nigeria. Let me give you a little bit of background. 4 years ago, I hopped on a flight to Abuja. Okay, I didn't hop on it. Like, we planned as a family to go to Nigeria, and then I stayed a little longer than expected. Then 3 weeks turned into 4 years. So on this channel, I talk about what it was like moving, what it was like finding a job, dating, all of those things. And I also show you some behind the scenes things that go on in my vlogs. I love also talking about plus size experiences, plus size content, and I love to do plus size fashion videos here on the channel. So if any of those things interest you, I mean, join the club. And if you are returning, mwah, I can't say too much. All of the beautiful people that have been just so supportive, amazing people who consistently support my content, consistently give awesome feedback, and just so many kind words. Thank you guys. Among the many questions I get about moving back to Nigeria, one of them has always consistently been, what was it like being a woman? Especially a woman that came from what some people may deem as a more liberal society, which I'm just like, if you're a black woman, I wouldn't call it liberal. But you get the point, you get the drift. Very quickly, I learned a couple of things. First and foremost, people in Lagos do whatever they want. Like, that's just how it is. It's one of the more accepting places in Nigeria, or accommodating places in Nigeria. So you could basically do whatever you want. These are going to be the top 5 experiences that I've witnessed or fallen victim to, I guess the word is. Number 1, waist beads. A lot of us know about waist beads. Some of us wear them, some of us don't. But I didn't really know the sexual connotation of it, or the imposed sexual connotation of it, until I went to Nigeria. Like, people, even though a lot of people wear the waist beads, a lot of times men and older people see a woman who wears the waist bead as someone who's hypersexual or overly sexual, and not just like normal hypersexual, like there's spiritual implications to it. So they think that like the waist bead is a charm to seduce men, to enchant men, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, a piece of jewelry being seen as a charm or a spiritual instrument is not making sense. But you know, what can I say? Speaking of jewelry, another thing that for some reason people think, again, if you're wearing this piece of jewelry, you're sexually hypersexual, again, I always kind of saw anklets as a piece of jewelry. And when I went to Nigeria, when I moved to Nigeria, not ever when I visited, but when I moved to Nigeria, I would see it and I'm like, okay, I like this, this is cool, this is that. But then one day someone made a comment, they're like, oh my gosh, this lady's a pastor's wife, she's wearing anklet. I was like, elaborate, what does that mean? It's a piece of jewelry. And they're like, is this that one, people who wear anklets, is they're ashawo, they're this, they're that. Ashawo is a prostitute. It's for ashawos is women who are promiscuous. It's not for good women, or it's not for well-kept women, or whatever the case may be. I actually had someone I was in a relationship with who had a thing for anklets. So there was, again, that sexual connotation of a piece of jewelry on my ankle. Speaking of sex, women are not supposed to talk about sex. We're not supposed to enjoy sex. We're not supposed to be vocal about sex. We're not allowed to be sexual people. I can tell you for free, there was actually a comment on one of my videos that I posted last year when I was talking about not liking the terminology of virginity and that whole purity culture thing. And someone comments and says, I have a free hole. So, I mean, this is what we're up against. There is a fear of women owning their sexuality, and that's a global fear. But I feel like in a place like Nigeria that's super religious, it's an additional fear, because if a woman is owning her sexuality, she's comfortable in her sexuality, that's a threat to men because they can't control them in that way. I've heard of people who have been vocal about sex with their partners, and their partners have gotten physically abusive to them, or like verbally abusive, and asking them, how do you even know about that? Who taught you that? You're a prostitute, you're this, you're that, etc. That's a conversation for another day. We're not going to talk about that in this video, but if you want me to have a more detailed conversation about these things, I'll be more than happy to. Like this video if you'd like for me to have a more drawn out discussion about these kinds of things. You're also not supposed to be confident, especially as a young woman, because people are going to say your shoulders are too high. This one is feeling too big. Where does she come from? Who is she? Who's her father? That she will speak up for herself, that she will advocate for herself. You're considered proud. You're considered overstepping your boundaries. It's not seen as confidence, it's seen as arrogance. We're also not supposed to love each other or support each other. You know, in every society, in every group, there are outliers, right? There are people who are just an exception to the rule. Yes, there are women who hate. There are women who are terrible to other women, but then pretend to be really nice to them by having all of these, you know, events and seminars and things like that. That's a reality. But this notion that women hate each other, women are their biggest enemies, I can't relate. I haven't seen it. Don't plan on seeing it in my personal life. Like, let me give you guys a perfect example. When this there was a challenge accepted initiative. It was in support of victims of domestic violence in Turkey. A lot of women all over the world, including Nigerian women, were being tagged by friends to post pictures and spread awareness. People either posted, or they weren't tagged, or they were tagged and they didn't post, etc. But then men started coming out saying things like, you women that are supporting each other, or you women that are doing challenge accepted, or women supporting women, instead of you to be supporting women, your fellow women in businesses, you're posting pictures. Let's see it in real life. Say it with your chest, etc. Which I'm just like, we're posting pictures, you don't like it. We're doing this, you don't like it. I mean, can we really win? And by the way, pause. Let's be clear on something. Statistically speaking, it's not even possible for women to not support women in business, especially in a place like Nigeria, especially small businesses. So we are doing the work. Let's just be clear on that. This is one thing I've noticed, especially in a lot of cultures that I've interacted with in Nigeria. We're supposed to be seen and not heard. And even when we're heard, we're supposed to say things that men want to hear. So you know that whole pick me phenomenon? Well, while it's a phenomenon, in a lot of cases, it's also a tool of survival for a lot of Nigerian women when it comes to businesses, when it comes to branding, etc. A lot of times, in order to be heard, they find themselves having to fit into a narrative to be listened to, because a lot of people rather tell them they're pretty than tell them they're smart. Now, moving on, let's talk about living arrangements. Let's say a woman who's doing well for herself, who wants her own space, or maybe her family lives in another state, or she just wants to live by herself, does in fact live by herself. People be looking at her like, number one, who bought you that house? Which man is renting your apartment? Which man is doing this for you? Which man is got that place for you? We're also not supposed to have cars that are too nice. In general, for a woman who drives an expensive car, lives in a certain house, whether she's really young or really old, is that a man bought the car for her, bought the house for her, is paying her rent. For some reason, if a woman says, no, I bought this car, people automatically assume that she's a sex worker, or she's this, or she's that. And even the sex workers in Nigeria, they're constantly being exploited. So I'm just like, let me put a statistic out there to you. According to Ngozi Okonjo Iweala, the amazing Ngozi Okonjo Iweala, in a new book that's going to be released February 21st, it's going to take 95 years for women to achieve equality. So that means in my lifetime, maybe my kids' lifetime, but definitely my grandchildren's lifetime, that's how long it's going to take for equality to be established between men and women when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to socially, when it comes to economically and politically, etc. It's going to take a long time. So the stakes are pretty high. Whether you identify as a feminist or not, a womanist or not, funny thing is, these expectations, these pressures, these notions affect you too. So, I mean, you know, hey, what do I know? All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this short and sweet video. I'm happy to be back. I feel like I took a hiatus, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. When it's been like 2 weeks, I feel like it's too long for me. Like, I just can't be away from you guys for that long. I just can't do it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this made you chuckle, but also made you think like, okay, we've got a lot of work to do. Because whenever I do videos like this, I chuckle because it's like the audacity, but then also I'm like, wait, there's a lot of work to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And of course, share your thoughts. What's it like in your culture? What are women not supposed to do or supposed to do or supposed to do and not do simultaneously? I mean, I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna see you next week.